Hi, it's Tim here. Next week is Independence Day in the United States. And as I like history, I thought you might like to know a little bit about the United States and how it became independent from England, and all the events that led up to the War for Independence. It all began in the early part of the 18th century with the French-Indian War, which was fought mainly in North America. The English-speaking settlers in the New World fought with England against France and the Native American Indians. The Indians joined the battle against the British because they were afraid the British would take over their land. The British won and defeated the French, and the war ended in 1763. However, the war was very costly for the British Crown, so the British Parliament decided to increase the taxes of the American colonies to pay for the war efforts and supposedly to get money for the common good of all Englishmen. The colonists were not permitted to elect delegates to the British Parliament, where these taxes were voted upon, so they were being taxed by a body in which they had no role. This angered the colonists in America, who had strong beliefs in the principle of no taxation without representation, a principle which had been deeply embedded in the hearts and minds of all Englishmen ever since the signing of the Magna Carta centuries before. The settlers reacted furiously to this by staging many demonstrations and protests, and also by boycotting everything they had been buying from English traders. They would not buy their tea anymore, clothes, glass, paper, and so on. Women even began to spin and weave their own cloth, though they had not done so in a long time. Eventually, the British Parliament repealed most of those taxes, except for one, the tax on tea. This is when Americans began to drink coffee as an alternative to tea. There are letters from this period in which John Adams, one of the United States' founding fathers, writes and says, "I hate coffee, but I am learning to drink it because I will not drink tea as long as it is being taxed by the Crown." The British Parliament was insistent on the tax on tea and began to stamp out any efforts to bring in tea that was not taxed, and they even began to punish the implementation of alternative beverages as well. That is when colonists had the famous Boston Tea Party, which infuriated the Englishmen. I'll continue telling you about it next week, okay? Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.